phase 2, and PDIA stands for the prioritization. The most difficult word to say in English. So, prioritization of exons of unresolved patients with image analysis.
Yes, the last talk before the desert. So thank you for the kind introduction, Nicole. Tonight I show you the current results of the PDIA study, and I introduce to you the second phase of the PDIA study. Some of you might have heard about the PDIA study, and some of you even contribute to it. So for all the rest, and as a little reminder, I'll show you the main idea of PDIA. So, like Nicole said, PDIA is an abbreviation for prioritization of exome data by image analysis. Today, exome sequencing is a standard diagnostic tool in genetic laboratories. The challenge is to find the disease-causing mutation under more than 20,000 variants per exome. Currently, the state-of-the-art is to combine variant filters, which include like allele frequency or the effect on protein level and so on, and with a clinical phenotypic information in, for example, HPO terms. Although these algorithms aren't bad at all, they can still be improved. And in PDIA, we use the Gestalt information by Face2Gene and add it to the workflow and test whether it improves the outcome. So we have started collecting data from diverse spectrum of patients in a multi-center study. To date, over 20 institutions worldwide are included, and they contributed over 400 patients at the moment. And now I show you the evaluation of these 400 patients. So I assume that the most of you already use Face2Gene on a regular basis in your clinical everyday life. So you will have experienced that the image analysis does provide valuable hints for differential diagnosis, but it does not replace phenotyping and sequencing. So the current used combination of exome sequencing and variant scoring and phenotypic scores achieves significantly better results, like you can see here. But the interesting part is now the combination of all these three branches and how they performs, and we see it here. So it's very surprising how the results increase. Even though the Gestalt score on its own is not yet performing so well on its own, the patient's photo seems to contain significant additional information that is valuable in the diagnostic workup. So, in this first phase of the study, we care about the syndromes with known molecular cores, and PDIA 2 is about solving the unknown cases, which we talked about today already in the question rounds. So, how large the number of unknown phenotypes actually is, we don't know exactly, but the estimates range from a few hundred, as Mr. Brunner said in the plenary session, to a few thousand. So, for the second phase of the PDIA study, the question is if image analysis can be used for new gene discoveries. So I'll show you how we plan to achieve this. As you may remember from Alexei's talk, he used image analysis to discriminate between patients with different affected genes of the same molecular pathway, the GPI anchor deficiencies. And that actually worked. And what he did is he had this large cohort of patients with GPI-BDs, and he subdivided them into smaller gene-specific groups by the image analysis. So what he achieved in the sub-cohorts is a decrease of the degree of heterogeneity and thereby an increased test strength or power. And this knowledge now can be applied in genome-wide association studies. And what I mean by this, like to explain in a more schematic way. So here we have a Manhattan plot. On the x-axis there's the chromosomal precision, and on the y-axis, a simplified version, the count of the mutations. So every of these plots stands for one patient. And if you take here, so if we combine all these three to one plot, we will see these, and we would expect in a genome-wide association study that the actual pathogenic mutation ranks the highest in this Manhattan plot. But if we look on the left side, there are two patients with the same mutation in chromosome 1, and the third one doesn't have it. So we want to use image analysis to subdivide this cohort on the left side and exclude the one without this mutation to find the right pathogenic mutation. So with regard to the gene-wise image analysis, we hypothesize that through image analysis we can subdivide the cohort and into smaller groups to find this one of the pathogenic mutations. So they test the strategy on defined phenotypes where a typical phase is described, but for which no molecular cause is known actually, or to this date. So I call these diseases percentage diseases because they are marked like this in OMIM. I think you know it in OMIM, the diseases with no molecular cause are marked with a hashtag, and the other ones with percentage. So for the beginning of PEDIA, we agreed on 9 of these percentage syndromes. For example, one of the syndromes is the Hallermann-Streiff syndrome, which is characterized by this typical facial shape like this beak-nosed. And together with the clinicians, we agreed on 8 other syndromes. So the good news are that you are invited to participate in both of the phases. So they are both open for collaboration. And there is also a YouTube video how you can take part in it. And if you have any questions, you can always ask us over our email address or over ResearchGate or Twitter, where we frequently inform you about the current state of our study. So, it's really easy to participate. If you already use Face2Gene, you have a frontal photo. I assume that you also have phenotypic features to your patients. And for the phase 1, we need a molecularly confirmed diagnosis. It would be perfect if you have a BCF also. And for the phase 2, we need one clinical or a differential diagnosis where with von Womann's percentage diseases. And it's really easy to participate. You have your case in Face2Gene, and you just have to add hashtag PEDIA to the case name, and the data will be transmitted not to us. Not the actual photo file, so just the scores. And that's it. Then, if you're interested to learn more about PEDIA, tomorrow is the workshop Nicole mentioned, where I will talk more about PEDIA phase 1. And there's a talk of my supervisor, Peter Kravitz, on Monday to the second phase. And then I thank you for your attention, and thanks to all these people in our work group at FDNA and to all the contributors to this from the study consortium. Yes, and of course to the patients and their families.
Thank you very much. Questions? No silence, or we're all waiting for dessert, I guess. Is Dr. Brian Chan